All right. Looks like everything's going now. So we are live. Let me get disclaimers out of the way. We'll jump into it. We got a lot of chat going on already, so probably a lot of between you guys, which I could skip over, but we'll go through it here in a second. This is a weekly live broadcast, pretty much every Thursday evening. Not every, sometimes I have to skip it, but most of the time, Thursday evenings, 7 o'clock Central. This is where I am. And I'm here to, got distracted. I don't have a topic planned out. I do my best to respond to every single chat that comes in during the live broadcast itself in the chat, unless you're talking to each other, which is fine. You can do that. Anything is fair game. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, whether it be quail or rabbits or politics or religion or any of those taboo topics. I don't care. It's fine with me. The only things I ask is be polite, be family friendly. We can have differences of opinions. We can still get along, still be friends. It's all good. Just don't get hateful with anybody. And don't start cussing anybody. We'll have to kick you out. Other than that, anything's pretty much open. So let's jump into it. We got Teresa Wiggins here. Hello to you, Jam and Mike. Andy Rabbit, hello to you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. Verna was here, says she was the third like. We already got 13 likes. We haven't even started yet. Look at that. Let's see. G. Michael Jr. says, let's get started right. Let's get started quickly, right? That was a little while ago. And then Verna said, hey, Michael, he has 7 minutes until he has to show up. Has to show up. Not like I'm required to. But I know what you mean. Andy wants to know how everybody's doing. I'm doing well. G. Michael says, just a little excited to catch a live stream. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate that. I'm going to skip over some of these because you guys are talking to each other. But there's Dawn says, just stopping in today to say hello to everyone, but can't stay tonight. I planned on it because I'll be gone next week, but something came up. It's all good. You don't have to make excuses. It's perfectly all right. Hopefully everything's going okay with you. Jacob says, how are you tonight? Talking to Verna. Let's see. I'm going to skip through some of these because you guys are talking to each other, so I'll let that go. Where I'm getting down to, there we go. There's Andy Rabbit says, oh no, broken. I misread that. There was none broken because both parents were solid. Got to have at least one broken parent to get broken. Talking about rabbits, I think, that Verna said that they were born, I think. Well, who knows? Teresa says, got the wood ordered today to make more cages. That's always exciting. A lot of work in your future, I guess, but that's good. G. Michael says, hey, Chris, I hope all is well with you and your family. Thank you for taking the time to answer our questions. How long have you been raising rabbits and quail for meat? Oh, my goodness. Let's see, probably, I don't know, 15 years maybe, close to it. Maybe not quite. Pretty close to that, though, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to look. I couldn't tell you when I actually started, but it's been a long time. Teresa says, hubby and I were talking religion earlier. Well, hopefully it was a good discussion. Jacob says, hey, Chris, how's your day going? It's going pretty well. Buck Reynolds says, hello, everyone. Hope all is well. It's doing good here. Hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. Verna says, yeah, Chris, once you post a notification, you have to show up. LOL. Yeah. Hey, there's Blessed with Pets. How are you doing? Good to see you again. Andy, let's see, says, hey, Chris from Southwest Michigan. Hope all is well. It is. Thank you. Where are we at here? Justin Mitchell, hello from Iowa. Taking out my garden this week. Going to put some 10-10-10 down so it can soak in for winter. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I need to get the same thing done. Take out everything that's old. I think I'm going to be laying down a bunch of organic matter this year. So a whole bunch of like maybe some straw, some compost on top of that with some rabbit manure and stuff like that. And let that sit over the winter time and see how that does. David says 2 clutches of bunnies expected over the next week. Wow. That's exciting. I did breed my silver fox doe last weekend. So, well, this weekend that just passed, I think it is. So 30 days, should have babies there, hopefully. Caesar says, hey, Chris and everyone. Chris, how are the baby quails doing? Oh, they're doing great. Yeah, I ended up with 55 hatched. So I had 50, I think, at the end of that video, and then 5 more hatched out. the next day, just like expected. So not 100%. I mean, that's like 62, 63% hatch rate, something like that. I wasn't really nerding out on it. Like I said, my hen to rooster ratio is just a little bit low right now. So I wasn't expecting a very good one. So that's really not too bad. I'm perfectly happy with that. And they're all doing fine. We got Tony from Toronto. Good to see you. Where are we at here? G. Michael says, in all your years of raising rabbits and quail for meat, how long did it take for you to feel like you knew what you were doing? Oh boy, good question. Not terribly long, honestly. I mean, I'm one of those people that kind of I tend to pick things up pretty quick, and I don't mean that like a bragging thing. It's just I do tend to pick things up pretty quick. I have a fairly good memory most of the time, and I can read something and retain it pretty well. I'm kind of lucky that way. And again, I don't mean that like a bragging thing, but and I tend to, like, whenever I get into something, I just want to learn all about it real quick, and I do that. So it didn't take very long. I'd say, a year or two at the most, and I felt like I was pretty good with it. And I still make mistakes. I don't know everything, and I still, like, if you watch some of my older videos, especially, you probably find things in there where I made a mistake on saying something, but for the most part, I think I had it down pretty well, pretty quick. But you learn something new all the time. So it's not like I wouldn't say that I'm, I don't know everything for sure. That's far from what I'm saying. It's not. I will definitely, still have things to learn. I pick things up all the time from people, learn new things. And it's always exciting when you can learn something new, in something you've been doing for a long time. I always think that's great. Teresa Wiggins says, what is 10-10-10? That's a fertilizer. So it'd be 10% nitrogen, 10% phosphorus, 10% potassium, right? I think. Tony, hello from Virginia. Good to see you. Dane says, hello from Georgia. Still no power here and got to start rebuilding rabbit cages tomorrow because all mine were crushed in the storm. Luckily, all rabbits and quail are okay. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of those hard hit areas. Man, it was a bad storm. It was really bad. So I've definitely been praying for everybody in those areas. Luckily, like I said, you didn't lose anything. You just got to rebuild rabbit cages. Kind of hard to do with no power, but you got to do what you got to do. So hopefully things get restored to you pretty quick. I know we had a bunch of people from here, from the utility company here I think they went to North Carolina, but they went somewhere and helped restore power to a lot of areas. Hopefully that all gets back done real quick. Teresa says, I'd love to see a review of the Barado incubator. Well, I don't have one of those incubators. I don't know. Let me see. They're pretty pricey, aren't they? Let's take a look here. Yeah, 360, 230. I don't know. If somebody wants to sponsor me, send me one. I'll review it. But I don't have any problems with my current incubator, so I probably won't be buying one anytime soon, unfortunately. You might check My Shire Farm, though. He did it's been a while, but he did review on a lot of different types of incubators. I don't know if the Barado was one of them. Verna might know. But that might be a place that you could check to see if you wanted to see a good review, because I probably won't be shelling out any money to buy a new incubator anytime soon. Unfortunately. Jacob says, I had a roo get beat up, and about a week ago, he is now separating and healing. I'm really hoping he learned his lesson and could go back in soon, or I'll have to restart on Jumbo Wilds. He's my only roo. That's going to be a tough one. If you're not really anxious to get a big hatch in before the end of the year, you might just wait and reintroduce him after, like all your hens stopped laying, he's not crowing anymore. Don't put any artificial light on them. Let them all, get out of breeding mode, so to speak. You'll have a better time getting him introduced there. But if he's been away from the flock for very long at all, he's probably going to be seen as a new bird when you try to introduce him. He's probably going to get the tar beat out of him again, just because they're going to be all territorial. Now, if you have another cage that you can move them all into all at once, so it's all new territory for all of them, that might help a little bit. Or if you have a cage that you can put inside and put him in it so you can protect him from them and let him kind of get, his presence be there around him for a while before you kind of release him to the rest of the flock, that might work too. It's always hard to remove a bird and then reintroduce them later. Andy Rabbit says, just got the notice Chris is live at 7:05. Yeah, I usually get an email notice. Oh, I did. Yeah, look at that. And what time did it come in? Let's see. No, it came in right on time, 6:59. So I don't know why. Weird. Let's see. Blessed with Pets says, I'm doing good. Should have a lot of rabbits due soon. Made a bunch of new additions. LOL. Got into a new breed. I'm obsessed with Teddy Wider. I don't know what that is. What is? I've never heard of Teddy Wider. Is that what that is? I gotta look that up now. Teddy Wider rabbit. Look at that. Interesting. I've never heard of those before. I'll have to look into those a little bit later. David Lister says, we called 15 chicken rooster in the past 10 days. I much prefer quail. Thank you. Yeah, quail are much easier for sure. Dane says, possibly 3 to 4 weeks without power. Hope not, but we're all okay. Hang in there. I mean, I've been there, not multiple weeks without power, but I've been, days and or a week without power, and it's tough. So hang in there. Hopefully things get better soon. Blessed with Pet says, and my Pyrenees had puppies. I was there the whole labor this time, but unfortunately she had 3 stillborn, but she did have 4 good ones, 8 days old, and they are huge, I guess, because they have full access to 8 nipples and don't have to compete. LOL. Maybe. Well, congratulations on that. So that's good news. Glad to hear that went well. My neighbor, every time you bring up Pyrenees, I think about my neighbor because she's got a Great Pyrenees and an Anatolian Shepherd. They stay outside, and I've talked about this probably before. You guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about this, but those dogs bark all night long. I mean, all night, nonstop. Every leaf that falls, everything that goes by on the road, everything. They just bark, 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 bark. They don't get along, so one of them has to stay in the garage while the other one has free roam of the yard, and then she switches them out. And I wake up at 2:30 in the morning. Most nights this week, I've woken up at 2:30 in the morning because they're right. I mean, we share a fence line, and it's right by my bedroom window, and they're standing out there. I mean, just nonstop going at it. My cousin came over one day, and her husband met us over here for something, and the dogs were barking like crazy. She said, it sounds like somebody's got a kennel next door. And it does sound like that. It's ridiculous. As you can tell, I'm a little irritated with the dogs next door. I like my neighbors, so I don't really do anything, and I don't want to be the guy that, complains too much or anything, because there was a long time where I could sleep right through it. But here lately, it's been really getting to me. Anyhow, that's my complaint. Last night, I actually slept just fine, so. J2 Cowgirl wants to know, what brand of incubator are you using? Right now, I've been using the Brisney. I found out it's pronounced Brisney. I think I did a video on it. It was released Monday. I pronounced it Brisnia or Brincia. It's Brincy. That's what it is. Brincy, I think. I got to look this up again. How does this pronounce? Yeah, Brincy. I found out I was pronouncing it wrong. But anyway, I'm using that one. It's the Ovation 56 Advance is the one that I'm using right now. Berna says, let me check, Chris. Let you check. What were you checking on? I don't know. Oh, the incubator. No, he didn't do that one. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for checking. I was hoping that would be a solution because I don't have that incubator and I just don't have the extra money right now to be able to shovel out $300 for an incubator just to do a review on. But I don't know, maybe if we can get somebody to sponsor it, I'd do it. I'd be happy to. I just don't always expect that. Where we at here? Homestead Matters says, a little late to the game. Happy Friday Eve, all from Eugene, Oregon. Hope everyone is doing well. Well, we're doing well here. Hopefully you are too. Verna sent us a link to a picture of the Teddy Wise rabbits. Oh, they are cute. Look at that. Little fluff balls. Yep, those are cute. Tony Miller says, question, I put 60 shipped quail eggs in the incubator, 31 hatched, and only 11 were hens. Am I doing something wrong, or is it normal? You put 6, you got about a 50% hatch rate. It's maybe a little bit low. It doesn't necessarily mean that you were doing anything wrong. Only 11 being hens is not an indication of anything necessarily. You know, I don't know if you've checked your incubator to make sure that the temperature is reading correctly. Did they hatch a little early? Did they hatch a little late? You know, it's hard for me to troubleshoot without knowing some of those details. But I mean, it doesn't sound like you're doing anything wrong. You got roughly a little over a 50% hatch rate, which is not terrible. It's just a little bit low maybe, but not much. Shipped eggs, you're always going to get a little bit of a lower hatch rate on them. But, you know, again, it's not terrible. Teresa says, let's see, I'd have to move if their dog's barking constantly like that. I have sound sensitivity due to my autism. Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing to do, I mean, if it was that bad, and my neighbor's super friendly, they're super nice. I have talked to them when my in-laws lived here and the dogs were bothering them. I talked to her about it, and she did keep them she did her best to keep them pinned up at night so they wouldn't bother them. But the in-laws are moved out, and at the time, they weren't bothering me. I was sleeping through it, but anymore, I've just seems to be kind of, I wake up to it occasionally. And maybe it's really been just this week that's been a real problem. It comes in, it's like peaks and valleys for me, I guess. So, I mean, there's times where, yeah, it irritates me quite a bit. And then other times I just don't notice it at all. I just kind of ignore it. It's kind of like the train that goes by every night. You get used to it. And you don't even hear it anymore kind of thing. But I could talk to her and I'm sure she would do something about it. I just don't want to put her in that position because they're nice people. And there's no reason. I don't want her to be, you know, in a stressed out position trying to figure out what to do with her dogs. Honestly, they need to be out on a country somewhere on a farm protecting livestock, not in town in, you know, a fenced in yard. 340 Quail Farms here says, good evening, everyone. Mount Dora, Florida, checking in. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Says, you got quail. Says, I have 120 Coturnics incubating right now. Awesome. Hopefully you have a good hatch rate. Homestead Matters says, fun story. I wrote down the wrong date for lockdown and thought we lost a whole hatch when we didn't even have a pip for 2 days and then 15 healthy babies. Hey, I've done that kind of thing before. Teresa says 120. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a few eggs. Yeah, I've done that kind of thing before, though, written down dates wrong. And usually it's the other way around. I don't put them into lockdown. And I come in and there's babies hatching while the eggs are still in the turner. And I'm like, oh, no. You know, I've done that before. But I've done better at keeping track of them now. So what is this? Hang on just 1 second. It's the tree guy that's going to come and cut down the tree for me. All right. Teresa says, I'm getting 24 button quail this weekend, my first ever hatch. Well, good luck. I hope that goes well. Free Time says, a leaking roof cost me 120 quail chicks. Lesson to me, make sure where I put my brooder, it will be dry and fairly draft free. Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't think I can't ever say that I've ever had that issue with a leaking roof causing any issues. I've had leaks in my roof I had to have fixed, but just a few here and there. Never bad enough to where it actually leaked through the ceiling. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. Teresa Wicken says button quail eggs. Yeah, I kind of assumed that's what you meant whenever you said you were getting button quail. And anyway. And then Verna posted a link to Quail University. So if you are new to quail, that is a great resource. Cindy says, fashionably late as usual. Good evening, everyone. Hey, good evening to you. Hey, you know the deal. We don't keep track of attendance here. You don't have to, apologize or even announce that you're late. We're just glad you're here. Andy Rabbit says, I had the same problem once about dogs barking like that. This is what I found out. You call the police department and ask them to go tell them to get the dogs to stop. When the cop asks if you Want to make a complaint? You say, not yet. My attorney said to bug a few 10 plus times before I make a complaint. It has only took once, and I didn't hear the dogs bark again like that. Well, I'm one of those that I don't want to go. I'm not going to the police before I go to the neighbor and talk to the neighbor. I want to keep good relationships with my neighbors. And like I said, they're nice people. They would come to me and talk to me if they ever had issues with something. I want to show them that same respect. So, I mean, I'm not going to go over there and throw a fit. I would be nice about it. I'd be like, hey, there's a little bit of a problem here. And if they, refuse to do anything about it, then you resort to those kinds of other means. But it's not to that point yet. My patience has not quite gotten to that point yet. There was one day this week though where I think it was a couple of days ago, Tuesday maybe, or Monday I think it was, maybe. Well, I guess it was Tuesday morning. I woke up at 2:45, and the dogs next door just going nuts. And they barked nonstop for, at least 45 minutes nonstop. And then they kind of quit, and then they started back up. Anyway, by this time it's 3:30, almost 4 o'clock in the morning. I finally just got up because I get up at 4:45 usually anyway. So I just got up. I was done. I couldn't go back to sleep, and if I did, it was going to be hard to get up. So I just got up, and that day, I was a little irritated most of the day about the dogs next door. But, again, it's not that way always. I'm going to go ahead and, give them some time and see if it continues to bother me. I'll talk to the neighbors about it eventually. But anyway, or I might buy one of those. They make these, I don't know what they are, like some kind of sound thing I can mount right there that every time they bark, it puts out a high-pitched noise, might keep them from barking. I don't know. I may try those out and see how they work. I'm sure my neighbor would be fine with that. It wouldn't bother her. She'd be okay with it. Blessed with Pets is going to have my first experience with rabbit transport, spending over $200 on a Teddy Whiter buck, but I'm very excited. He's a blue-eyed VM broken magpie. I'm not sure exactly what all that means. VM, blue-eyed VM broken magpie. Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly what that means, but anyway, sounds exciting. Hopefully that works out well. Ephraim says, hey, what is the hen to roo ratio you use? What do I use, or what do I suggest? Usually you're looking at one rooster for every 4 to 5 hens. I'm probably 1 to every 6-ish right now, and that's a little bit low. You don't really want to go much lower than 1 to 5. Well, what I'm saying is you don't want to go like 1 to 4, 1 to 5 is okay. 1 to 6, you're a little bit low on your roosters. You go 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 or 1 to 1, you're going to have problems because your birds are going to get overbred and it can lead to aggression. And, definitely they're not going to have any feathers on the back of their head. They're going to get beat up a little bit. So really about a 1 to 4, 1 to 5 ratio is pretty good. And if you have a lot of birds, like, I've got like probably 15 out there, 15 hens right now. So for those 15 hens, if I wanted to do a 1 to 5, I would need 3 roosters, but I would throw an extra one in there and call it 4, just to have an extra one in case something happened to one of the roosters or whatever. And Verna's saying the same thing. Usually 5 hens per roo. PT Jeff says, my first mature quail laid for about a month and then stopped. My best guess is that sunlight dropped below 14 hours, so I added lights. Will it start laying again before spring? Yeah, more than likely. If you get it up to to 14 hours a day, S.O. Swanson saying it's about 10 to 14 hours a day, and they'll restart. Yeah, if you can get it, really, I find it's closer to like 12-ish or above that really helps with that. 14 or more will be more consistent laying. But yeah, if you get it back up to 14 hours a day of light, at least, then yeah, they'll start laying. It may take them a week or two to get back into the swing of things, a couple of weeks, but they'll start laying again. Verna says, give them 16 hours of light and they'll start laying again. May take up to 2 weeks, but they'll start again. Yeah, that's pretty much, I agree. It doesn't have to be quite 16, 14 or more. 16 is not going to hurt. That would help. But if you can do 14, that should be fine. You got Quail says, has anyone used 4250 incubator? Is it reliable? I don't know what that is. 4250. Oh, the Farm Innovations one? Okay, so I haven't used the actual Farm Innovation ones, but I've used the little giant one that's a styrofoam incubator. Basically the same thing. It's just made by Miller Manufacturing instead of Farm Innovations. And I got really good hatch rates out of that. So yeah, they can be good. It's just like any other incubator though. Don't ever trust that it's reading temperature exactly right. Throw a couple of thermometers in there, make sure they're calibrated and accurate. Throw 2 of them in there, run it for a little while, see if they read the same as what the thermostat reads. And what, if any 2 of those read the same number. So in other words, if you have the 2 thermometers inside reading one temperature and the thermostat says another one, adjust the thermostat until the thermometers inside say 99.5. If one of your thermometers and your thermostat reads right, then it's probably right and you're good to go. But yeah, they work just fine. Little susceptible to like drafts and some of those kinds of things. So put it in a non-drafty place. Don't set it in front of a window where there's going to be a draft flowing through, or where the sun's going to come across and hit your incubator through the window. I made that mistake one time, really killed my hatch rates. Don't set it right above a heater vent or something like that, and you should be okay. Where are we at here? Oh, S.O. Swanson says, unless they start to molt. And then Verna says, well, mine always laid when they were molting. Yeah, a lot of times they will shut down during the molt, but not always. Sometimes they'll keep laying when they are molting. Andy Rabbit says, this person is a good friend of mine. And I said many times, and every morning at 4 a.m., the dogs would bark. One morning I woke up on the phone with the police department. I said to the officer, and then there's more to it somewhere. I said to the officer, oh, I guess I called you before I fully woke up. Well, if you've talked to them several times and they're not responding, then that's definitely when you have to move to the next level. I'm just saying that I would start with talking to my neighbor first. I'm not going to call the police right off the bat. Where are we at here? S.S. Swanson says the 4250 is a farm innovation similar to the Little Giant that has a plastic housing over the styrofoam. Yeah, kind of figured that out. But anyway, Andy says, Chris, would a white noise machine help drown out the dogs barking at night? I don't know. I don't know that it would. Maybe. I don't know. I usually sleep pretty good, and I don't have any problems going back to sleep when I wake up. So like I said, it's just one of those weeks where it's gotten to me a little bit. Maybe, next week, maybe just fine. It won't bother me anymore. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go camping together. Says, hey, Chris, what's up? Well, not a whole lot. What's up with you? Hopefully things are going well. PT Jeff, it's been about 2.5 weeks with 14 hours, and I'm getting curious. Oh, give him just a little bit more time. Like I said, probably tomorrow you'll get eggs because you asked about it today. That would be my guess. Cindy says, I went out this afternoon to 1, introduce our new dog to the hobby farm critters. 2, clean feeders and water jugs. I found that 2 hens were completely gone. I see no feathers or blood anywhere. That's strange. These are quail hens. And Verna's asking the same question I would. How, is there a way for them to get out? Do you have a hole, a gap in your cage somewhere or something like that? Scrap 5000 says, Dag Nabbit, I'm so late to the party. What's up, y'all? Greetings from New York City. Smash the like button. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight, late or not. I appreciate it. You Got Quail says, you helped me decide to get into quail. I appreciate your content. Well, good. Content is what you said. Yeah, I don't know if I said that right the first time. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Not necessarily, well, I mean, hopefully you're happy about getting into quail, but I'm glad to hear that you find the videos helpful. Thank you for watching them. I appreciate that. Blessed with Pet says, I watch too much because I'm out of questions. Hey, it's all good. Homestead Matters just wanted to say how much we appreciate this community. The information, the experience everyone is willing to share has been instrumental so many times. Well, that is fantastic to hear. I think it is a fantastic community. We have a big group of friends here. I mean, Zach from My Shire Farm. We got Verna here. We've got Guidro's Family Farms. We've got, all these people from all over the country. We come together for QuailCon, share all our knowledge. If one of us doesn't know an answer, one of the other ones probably does, and we're not competing with each other on that. It's a very cooperative thing, and I think that's a good thing. Jacob says, have a good night, all. I have to do some canning. I'll have fun with that. Hopefully it goes well. Cindy says, I cannot find any loose wire on the doors. So I'm not sure I don't know what would take a hen without, I mean, you don't have any neighbors, do you? Like somebody come over and steal a couple of your birds or something? But I've had weird things happen. Like I went out one morning to feed my quail hutch. The door was just wide open. I mean, just wide open. I don't think any of the birds got out. They were all still in there. But still, how did the door get open? Don't know. Never did figure that one out. Blessed with Pet says, what's the oldest you've bred a doe? Boy, I don't know. I think, probably a 4-year-old doe, maybe something like that. I don't really know the actual oldest. I don't do a great job of keeping track of their age necessarily. When they start having like smaller litters, I'm like, oh yeah, this doe's over like 3 years old. It's probably about time to retire. But I don't really know the exact age. I don't really usually keep track of that too much and pay too much attention to it. Scrap 5000 says, I just spent the past few hours shoveling up the quail manure from the past year. Thousands of black soldier fly larvae. It was heavenly for the chickens. Yeah, they love those. I like having them too because they do such a good job of composting down all that material. It's just crazy. G. Michael says, have you ever tried raising turkeys, geese, or ducks? Well, when I was a kid, my grandma had turkeys. But no, I have never personally raised them. I have to be careful what I do here. I live in town, so I don't want to be the neighbor that's annoying, like the dogs next door. If I get, a neighbor that doesn't come and talk to me about things and instead calls the police, I could be in trouble if I have too many things out there, and they may just shut down everything I have, which would be a problem. So I got to be a little bit careful here. I do talk to my neighbors, and I always tell them if anything annoys you, you come talk to me, let me know about it. And, I'm a reasonable person. I'm approachable. I'm not going to throw a fit if somebody's upset by something I'm doing. And I would like to think that they would all do that. But at the same time, and I know turkeys aren't too big of a problem as long as you don't get a tom. That's strictly prohibited, like roosters, chicken roosters I can't have here. But no, I've never tried raising any of the other things. We did have ducks when I was a kid. I did have some ducks for a while. And I would be willing to do ducks again. I think I could get away with that. Blessed with Pets says, what do you think of mini Highland cows? LOL, I want them. It's kind of funny. I'm in a homestead group on Facebook. And I'm terrible about posting on social media. I do browse it occasionally, but today I was browsing through Facebook and two different posts, somebody getting rid of mini Highland cows. And they're pretty cool, but no, I don't need one. Cindy Rapp says, that is a possibility. I've sold some. So many people know what there is here for critters. Could be. I mean, if I would say don't worry about it too much unless it happens again. If you start noticing it happen again, invest in a trail camera or something. Stick it up there, like especially if you can get one of those cellular ones, because if it is somebody coming by and they're stealing birds from you, kind of doubt that's the case, because why would they just take 2 hens? I don't know, maybe. But if it is somebody coming by and stealing hens from you, then and they see a camera, they're going to probably take the camera too. But if it's cellular, it sends a picture, so you're covered. Homestead Matters says to Scrap 5000, the only reason my mother-in-law is jealous of the quail versus chickens is her compost is without black soldier fly larva. Ours are exploding in abundance. Yeah, that draws them in. They love it. Scrap 5000 says, I've been tied to my desk all summer working. Finally got some free time for cleaning and maintenance. Going to replace all the rabbit flooring, water hose to the black from clear, and all the chewed wood. Yeah, my rabbits can't get to the wood on the hutch. I mean, their cage is hanging inside the shed, so they can't get to it and chew it up. But yeah, do have to replace flooring every once in a while. I'm good on that right now. I don't really have a whole lot of maintenance that needs to be done. I need to change the plastic over my quail hutch, the plastic part that goes over the sandbox to keep the rain out of it. It's old and it's starting to get torn up and it's not on there real well anymore. So I need to change that out, but that's pretty easy to do. Scrap 5000 says, I want those cows so badly. David Lister says, we got our first egg from our Mexican speckled this morning. It was the size of my thumbnail. Well, still, it's first egg, so kind of cool. I don't know how big. I mean, surely they lay bigger eggs than that, don't they? I don't know. Blessed with Pet says, haha, same. I just wish I could afford them. Spent too much dang money on rabbits. Yeah, you've had a go with the rabbits, haven't you? Scrap 5000 says, Homestead matters. Oh, wow. I never thought about that, about the black soldier fly not being in the rabbit or the chicken manure. Says, is it possible the chickens are eating them before you can notice them? Maybe. More than likely, it's the fact that oh, okay, well, maybe not. Homestead Matters says, not her compost is full of worms for the chicken poop, and we exchange. I was going to say more than likely it's because the chickens aren't like housed in one place to build piles of manure to draw them in. That would be my guess, but I don't know. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, I also bought a stainless steel water nipples for the rabbits. Hopefully they will last longer than the cheap zinc ones that keep leaking after a couple of months or so. Yeah, stainless steel, the way to go. Zinc is terrible for longevity. It's like, and you'll notice that, like, you know, when I take the metal detector out, when I find modern pennies, it doesn't matter. See if I got one here handy. I don't think I do, but when I find modern pennies, you know, from when they went to zinc, so that's like 1987, something like that. I can't remember the exact time when they went to start making them out of zinc and stuff. Those pennies are just, they look terrible. I mean, you can find a 2006, 2018, whatever. It's been in the ground for a year or two, and you pull it out of the ground, it's just all chewed up and corroded and nasty. You pull a penny out from pre-1980, I think it was 84 when they went to zinc, pre-1984, and they look fine. I mean, they're dirty, but they're not torn up and chewed up and look like they went through a lawnmower. Blessed with Pets says, I really want a rabbit barn. My fuzzy breed rabbits would really benefit from AC. Their coat just doesn't hold up in the summer. Yeah, it gets pretty hot where you're at. I imagine that would be pretty beneficial. Scrap 5000 says, don't fret to Blessed with Pets. Don't fret. You could just sell rabbits and make enough money to get cattle. Yeah, that's a thought. I can't do cattle here. I mean, I probably have enough land for one of those mini cows, but no, I could not put a cow in my backyard. That would definitely draw some unwanted attention. Same thing with pigs. I thought about doing that before too, but I can't get away with that. And then Scrap 5000 says you can put plastic bottles of frozen water in their cages to keep them cool. Yeah, I mean, I did that for my rabbits for a little while, but they never seemed to use it much. But then again, it's, you know, yours may be different. It's worth a try. Something you could do. And one thing I did find too, that only lasts till about noon. So I put them in the morning, and by noon or so, they're thawed out and they're warming up. And we're out of comments all of a sudden, or out of chats, I should say. There's Mid-American Bulldogs here. Mike Landis checking in. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. And then all of a sudden, we're only half hour in, aren't we? 37 minutes. We got a little bit of time. So let's see. What can we talk about? I don't know if you guys watched the vice presidential debate the other day. That was, I'm at the risk of talking politics. And again, I don't care if you have a different opinion than me. It's okay. I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm not going to be upset. Hang on. I'm trying to get things sorted out here. I'm not going to be upset if you do, but I thought the debate was a pretty good debate, just all in all. I thought that J.D. Vance definitely came out on top. I'm a little bit biased because I am more conservative. But all in all, I mean, they were very respectful. I really kind of wish that it was those two we were voting for and not the two that we have to vote for. But, that's just me. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, have you gotten your 100,000 subscriber award from YouTube yet? Yeah, I got it. I should be hanging it up, right? Here, let me grab it. I showed it off for a while. We did a giveaway and everything. Yeah, it's right here. Yep, 100,000 subscribers, the silver plaque. I don't have it hung up on the wall. Probably should, like all those YouTubers do, hang it up on the wall behind you. But no, it's just sitting up here collecting dust. It's very dusty right now. I need to clean it off. G. Michael Jr. says you should get your backlot rezoned to agriculture and then get livestock. Yeah, I think that's probably easier said than done. I live in town. I mean, in town. There's not, I don't live out in the middle of nowhere. It's not, I mean, it's not very far from me that we have some woods, but I'm still in town. I mean, there's businesses just a block and a half away. So I don't think I could get it rezoned. Mid-American Bulldog says, doing some aquarium maintenance tonight on 125 gallon. Oh, well, hopefully that goes well. Vernon wants to know when you're starting your breeding back up. Talking about rabbits. Well, I just bred my silver fox doe this last weekend. So right now, I've got to wait a little while on my Tamucks because they're just not quite big enough yet. The doe's still a little bit on the small side. Let her gain a little bit of weight. She's right at old enough probably, but she's not quite big enough yet. So let her gain a little bit of weight first, and then I'll start breeding her. Blessed with Pets says, I'd have to sell 1,000 rabbits to afford everything I'd take to get a mini cow herd set up. LOL. Yeah. Teresa Wiggins says, oh, congrats on the Homestead Matters. Says, dude, that's so cool. Chris, congrats on the award. Oh, yeah. Well, no, I appreciate that. That was actually a little while back. I mean, it was, good grief, it's been like 6 months or so, I think, since we got that and did the big giveaway. Let's see where we at here. So Swanson says to Blessed with Pets, get to breeding and start selling. Teresa says, speaking of aquariums, I have some crushed coral. Is that safe for quail? The pieces are too big for them to eat. So if it's too big for them to eat, I'm not sure what you mean. Like, is it safe for them? Like, you're wanting to use it for like extra calcium or something? Is there calcium in coral? I don't know, honestly. Let's see something here real quick. Okay, so apparently it is calcium. I don't think that I would. I don't think I would try to feed it to the birds. Honestly, they probably don't need it. They are. Oh, sorry, I got distracted by another comment. They probably don't need it. If your feed has like 1% to 2% calcium in it, that's enough. That's plenty. And if you add too much calcium, then it can really cause some other kinds of problems. One of those being it can affect your hatch rates because the eggshells become thicker when there's too much calcium in their diet. Now, if you are going to add something like that and see if they eat it, put it in a separate container. Don't mix it in with their feed. Let them self-regulate and see. But yeah, it should be. I mean, if they can eat it, it's safe for them, and they'll regulate themselves on it. So you can put it in there. It should be okay. Verna says, add a little oatmeal to their feed, and that will put some meat on her. Yeah, I could do that, I guess. S.O. Swanson says coral can be a good source of calcium. Yeah, I looked that up real quick. I should have read your comment first. But yeah, I looked it up real quick because I wasn't sure. I know oyster shell, but I hadn't really heard of coral being used for that. But that makes sense. Cindy says, congratulations on the award. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Blessed Pets says, well, I have 11 does bred. Wish me luck. Yeah, good luck for sure. Sundial Fragrances is here. Says, hello, Chris and y'all. And all y'all. That's what it says. Hello to you too. Thanks for joining. G. Michael Jr. says, I live in Salt Lake City metro area in Utah, and there are a few agricultural zone lots within a mile from me. I really think I don't know. I never really thought about trying to get it rezoned. I don't know that I have enough land to consider it, agricultural though, because I mean, really I have, the lot that my house is on, which is, my front yard, my backyard, that, and then I own the lot behind me and the lot beside that. So it's probably, I don't know, maybe an acre total. It's not a whole lot. I mean, it's more than a lot of people have in town, but it's not a whole lot. Teresa Wiggins says coral for quail cage along with sand, etc. So are you? Oh, you want to use it in the sand bath, I guess. I mean, you could put it in there, I suppose. Yeah, there's a good point here too. Or Mid-American Bulldog says, I know it's really sharp on fish gills. Yeah, I don't know that I would actually. Now I think about it, if it's too big for me, I mean, it's probably pretty good sized chunks, and I might worry about them cutting their feet on it, scratching themselves on it. I don't think I would use it. I think I would stay away from it. Desert Homestead says, what are the prices for meat rabbits in everyone's area? Pedigree and no pedigree. I paid $40 a piece for New Zealand American chinchilla mix, no papers, rural Phoenix, Arizona area. That's not terribly high if they're good genetics, good breeders. New Zealand American chinchilla mix, that's probably going to be a pretty good meat rabbit breed. I kind of like to have like purebred pedigrees for my breeders, but that's not always the case. I mean, that's not always going to be good. Both of those, a chinchilla or a New Zealand, they're both good meat rabbits. So you probably got a pretty good mix, and that's not terribly high. Around here, the cheaper rabbits, like especially like New Zealand's mixed with Flemish Giants, those are pretty common around here, and they sell $10 to $15 a piece usually. Whereas you get better like purebred New Zealand's, purebred Californians, purebred silver foxes, they're going to go 30, 40, or 50 depending on the genetics on them. Let's see. Sundial Fragrances says, I just incubated 50 quail eggs, have 8 chicken eggs in the incubator for a friend, and hatched 24 quail chicks from shipped eggs. I'm rolling. Nice. Well, congratulations. You got a lot going on there. Hopefully you can stay on top of it all. Dawn says, I made it back in time for the ending half. There you go. Yeah, we got 15 minutes left. You got plenty of time. Chat's kind of slowed down, so I don't have a whole lot to talk about here. I don't know. I got to come up with another topic, right? So now Fragrance says, thank you. Well, you're absolutely welcome. I always say this, I should have something planned out to fill the gaps whenever the chat kind of slows down a little bit. And I never do. I just come here thinking, it'll be fine. Teresa says to Sundial Fragrance Review, rolling in poo with a question mark on it. If you're not yet, you will be soon, right? S.O. Swanson says, hey, Don, glad you came in from the jogging path. I bet you weren't jogging, were you? Let's see what else has been going on here. Not a whole lot. I got those quail hatched out, 50 of them in the brooder, 52 of them, I think, in the brooder or something like that. 54, I think is what it is. I think I did lose one in the brooder. Anyway, so those are hatched out. I'm saving up eggs. I'll be incubating another round and see if I can get a little bit more out there. Truck 3 Warden says, Chris, do you have grapevines? No, not grape. I mean, we have vines that we call grapevines, but they're like big vines that hang up in the trees. Not anything that's producing grapes. No, I don't have those. I don't really like grapes all that much. So, I mean, it's not that I strongly dislike them. I just don't like them that much. So I don't know that it'd be worth doing, grapes for me. We do have a pawpaw tree, which it looks so far the squirrels have not gotten. We've got one piece of fruit left on it. The squirrels have not gotten it. So it looks like it's starting to ripen up. I'm hoping we're going to get an actual pawpaw fruit. It's very small. It's not very big. Probably poor pollination because we only have the one tree. But I'm hoping we're going to get one off the tree this year. And I don't know if you guys know what pawpaw is. It's a native tree. Maybe not all over the country, but in this part of the country, it's a native tree. But it almost looks like a tropical tree. And the fruit is almost like banana custard, really, I guess is kind of a better way to describe it. It's kind of interesting. Sundial Fragrances says, I got this, no worries. Let's see. Cindy says, got my hens. Oh, wait, hang. Got my lean-to style barn ready for a Minnesota winter. Garden is almost put to bed for the winter. Yeah, winter's coming pretty quick for you guys, isn't it? We're still 2 weeks away from our average last frost date, and it's pretty warm. So I think it's going to be a late frost this year. G. Michael says, are prepping for a fall garden? No, I don't do a fall garden necessarily because, my summer garden's just now winding down. And, like I said, we're 2 weeks away from an average first frost. So I don't really do fall gardening necessarily. Scott G says, I've got 31 quail that are 10 days old, starting to get feathered out. This is my first hatch, and I'm Very excited to get started with raising quail. Well, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully things go well with those. You said 10 days old, starting to get feathered out. Yeah, they'll be pretty much fully feathered out 2 to 2.5 weeks-ish, somewhere right around in there. Furnace says, love pawpaws. They are the largest natural fruit in the U.S. Are they? Really? That may be right. I don't know what other natural fruit that we have. And we have cherries, apples. Are apples a natural fruit, or were they import? I don't know, honestly. Plums. Yeah, pawpaws are typically bigger. This one's not. It's pretty small, but typically they are bigger. Don says, oh, I've never tasted pawpaws. They grow around here. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're interesting. They're just different. But usually the squirrels take them all. So we only have one pawpaw tree. It was a freebie giveaway after the tornado 12, 13 years ago, something like that. And they wouldn't give me two. They'd only give me one. And they're not self-fertile, so they have to be pollinated by another tree. I don't know where there's another tree nearby, but it gets pollinated pretty much every year. It just doesn't produce a huge crop. So it's not very good pollination. But usually the squirrels get them all. This is the first time they haven't. Teresa says, my hydroponic cucumbers are starting to produce. They're about the size of paper clips right now. Nice. Caesar says, Chris, is there a passion fruit that grows in cold weather? I don't know. I hate passion fruit. I don't know of any passion fruit that grows in, let's see, I don't know. Let's look it up real quick. It's passion fruit vine. Is it a vine? I don't know. All the best cold hardy varieties that we grow, these passion fruit, those seem like I don't know if that's passion fruit or just a flower. I don't know. I don't like passion fruit at all, so I don't know much about it. I'm not sure. I can't answer that one for you. Sorry. Don says, maybe I should plant a pawpaw after I get my birthday leg. It's not a bad idea, is it? Homesteading Matters says, only learned about pawpaws when I moved to Oregon after 20 years in PA. Yeah, they're an interesting one. You Got Quail says, apples are not natural. I didn't think so. I thought they were like imported or whatever you call it. I don't know if it's imported or cultivated. They're not a natural fruit, though, I don't guess. Well, now, think about it, though. Like hedge apples, though, that's a natural fruit, but it's not one that you can eat. So I guess that doesn't count, does it? And they're way bigger than pawpaw. David said, have you ever harvested hickory nuts? No, I haven't, actually. I've harvested walnuts before. That's about it. Teresa says, there's a pawpaw West WV fairly near me. There's a pawpaw, WV. What's that? I don't know what that means exactly. Dawn says, I'll check them out. And Verna says, I'm with you, Chris. Passion fruit hold no passion for me. Yeah, I don't really like citrus fruits in general, and passion fruit is one of those that's like super citrusy, kind of tart. I don't care for it at all. Teresa says, I've never had passion fruit, or is there another name for it? I don't know if there's another name for it, but it's a tropical fruit. There's probably a good reason you haven't had it. It's terrible. So I don't think many people want, I don't know. Maybe lots of people want it. I tried it when I was in the Dominican Republic and was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. And somebody had to tell me it was passion fruit. Let's see. Teresa says West Virginia. Okay, so that does mean West Virginia. So you said there's a pawpaw West Virginia. Oh, is that the name of a city in West Virginia? Is that what you were saying? Oh, there. Now you're saying it. Yeah. Pawpaw is a town in West Virginia. Okay, I didn't know that. Gary B says, want to drop in and say hello. I'm not very active much at this time, but always enjoy your episodes. Thanks for keeping it going. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't blame you. It's okay not to be very active. It's what, you need something answered or whatever, come and join us, but you don't have to join if you don't. It's all good. Where are we at here? We got 7 minutes left. What else we got? Oh, that was S.O. Swanson that said that Pawpaw's a town in West Virginia. I didn't know that. Don says pawpaw trees on Stark Brothers, $65 to $70 each. Holy cow. That seems high. Let's see. You know, there's a buy one get one free garden nursery plants. I don't know where that is, but for $29.99, buy one get one free. And then there's another one from TN Nursery, $35.99. Oh, and there's where you can buy fruit, a pound, $27.99. It says, enjoy the fruit and then grow your own pawpaw. I don't know how well the seeds germinate, but who knows? Yeah, Stark Brothers, that's a grafted, which I guess is okay. Now, I will tell you that pawpaw do germinate they send up shoots like some willow trees and some other things do. So like we've got the one tree and then we've got several small ones that have sent up shoots off the roots basically just around the tree. So we do have other ones growing. Verna says they germinate well, Chris. Okay, well, maybe you could do that then. Get the fruit, start the seeds, have a tree. Now, I don't know if they could pollinate, like those other trees could pollinate this tree. They're not big enough yet. They're not putting out flowers and stuff, but because they're from the same tree, I don't honestly know. I'm assuming, but I don't know. Scrap 5000 says, anybody else cure or pickle olives? It's one of my favorite things to do this time of year. I don't have any olives to do that with. That would be interesting, though. Dawn says, that's interesting with the roots. Yeah, they send up shoots off the roots. So, like we've got the main tree, and then probably, 7-8 feet from it, there's little pawpaws coming up. Not very many. I'm just a handful. Don says, thanks, Verna. All I could think of was start looking. David Lister says, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. That's true. The next best time is today. That's what they say, right? Best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The next best time is today. 4 minutes left. What else we got for in the next 4 minutes? I did tell you guys I've got a work trip coming up to Chicago. Not this next week, but the week after. So I won't be on that week. Where it says, yeah, tomorrow never comes. Yep. So I won't be on the week after tomorrow or the week after next for a live because I'll be in Chicago for a work conference. So if anybody's in Chicago area and wants to connect, I'll have that Sunday the 13th. I'll be getting there and I'll have the whole day free. So, let me know. But other than that, I won't be back in time to do a live broadcast that week. Don says I'll be in the hospital next week and the week after. Well, prayers for your speedy recovery. Hopefully that goes well. Teresa Wiggins says, every time I hear the name Lister, I think of the show Red Dwarf. I've never heard of that show. I don't know anything about that. Oh, it's a British sitcom? Okay. Don't know anything about it. Don says, I missed the live shows when I was in last time. Well, we're only going to have one when you're in this time, so you're not going to miss much. But hopefully you can, like I said, you can recover quickly and get back to us quick. Scrap 5000 says, apples are from Asia. There are literally millions of varieties. Each seed makes a different variety. Johnny Appleseed planted them for alcoholic cider. Yummy. Yeah, I thought about making some apple cider at one point, like some fermented, alcoholic apple cider. I haven't done it, but I've thought about doing it and just seeing how it comes out because I haven't really found a good cider that I really liked, but who knows? Scrap 5000 says, oh man, Don, I hope all is okay. I think it's a knee replacement, right? It's planned out thing. Jacob Wolf says, all you iPhone users, do everyone a favor and update to ISO 18. Apple finally adopted RCS chat and iOS 18. So now text between Android and iPhone can be sent over Wi-Fi and data, not just SMS. It's great. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was an issue, actually. Teresa says, I'm the only person I know that doesn't like the taste of alcohol. I don't like I'm not a big whiskey drinker or any of those like hard alcohols. I do like a good craft beer every once in a while. But I'm not a drinker that drinks to get drunk. I mean, I like a good craft beer, but I don't drink enough of them to get drunk. I'm not much for whiskey, bourbon, any of those hard alcohols. Not my deal. Don says, yeah, I'm supposed to have a second knee replacement. I thought that was the case. Jacob says, I've been waiting for this for years as an Android user with an iPhone user friends. Oh, okay, well, that makes sense. S.O. Swanson says, well, Chris, thank you for your time, advice, and knowledge, and for the missus for sharing you with us. Oh, you're absolutely welcome. Jacob Wolf says, you get the sent delivered and read receipts. I don't have to rely on Snap and Facebook Messenger anymore. Well, that's nice. Scrap 5000 says, I still have raspberries coming in. Yep, we do too. All right, guys, time to wrap this one up. So we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, if nothing comes up between now and then, I should be here next week. And thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. It was always a good time to hang out for a while. And as always, God bless.